The children's ministry is finally opening during first service. Plus, we have a visit with Her Majesty the Queen, and Punxsutawney Phil is a liar. I'm Pastor Derrick, and this is Good Morning, City on a Hill. Well, hello, and good morning, City on a Hill. Glad that you are with me this morning. It is another episode. We've got a lot of fun things happening. I'm going to be very brief right now because we have a lot of stuff to get to today, and I don't want to wait any longer than is necessary. So let me give you a couple heads ups on some things that you need to know. One is we just started our freedom groups this newest semester this past Wednesday, but there is still time to sign up. We allow signups actually after the first 2 weeks. This is when we shut down. So if you are like, oh, I forgot that started and I really wanted to do that, it's totally fine. You can still jump in this next Wednesday. Please consider doing that because really, really great groups that we've got coming out of 2020. Definitely something that you want to capitalize on. Secondly, if you have been with us for any number of days, months, years, and have never officially joined the church as a member and would like to become a member here at City on a Hill, tomorrow, February 7th, we are bringing back the Discovery class, and we're very, very excited about that. We have completely retooled it. James and I, prior to this, there was just some PowerPoint slides that whoever was facilitating the class would go through. James and I have actually filmed in this room our different sessions. There's 4 of them total, so you'll do one each week for 4 weeks. They're about 20 to 25 minutes long. And after the video, you will spend the rest of that class, which is about, half an hour to 45 minutes, with whoever is facilitating, asking questions, discussing about the material that we have talked about on film. And so if you're interested in doing that, want to take that step into membership, we'd love to have you. It's an exciting thing to become a member of a church, a covenant member of a body. It's biblical, and so would love to have you do that. You don't even have to sign up. We would like to know if you're coming, just so we can prepare, but you can just show up tomorrow morning at 10:30 in what is now A106, but will eventually change, and I'll say more about that when it happens. But for right now, A106. Hope to see you in there. It's really, really great. We've got a great show here planned. Lots and lots to do. Coming up next, I am bringing in our children's pastor, our very, very favorite British, and I'm going to say it, British friend who we are convinced is actually Australian, Emma Cunnington. And she's going to talk to you about the value of serving in children's ministry and just give you some really practical information that I think may change the way you see how you could be useful there. We will do that next. Well, here we are with our children's pastor, Emma Cunnington, or as I call her, Captain Kangaroo. So, because she's from Australia. So, how are you?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
I'm really glad to be here and give you another opportunity to make a Australian joke.
I can't help it. I can't help myself at all.
No, you cannot.
We brought you on, because you're a lovely guest, and I love having you on the show, and I love, hearing what you have going on. But B, specifically because some exciting things are happening over in the kids' building.
They are.
You want to talk about it?
Yes. So this Sunday we're opening up, which is tomorrow.
Yeah.
We are opening up preschool for first service. We've been waiting 4 weeks to do this. So I'm really excited. So anyone that's not been coming because there wasn't somewhere for the kids to go first service, they can bring them to preschool.
My feral child, Lydia Bledsoe will have a place to go. And
now she has a place.
Yeah, to be reined in a little bit.
Just a little bit. We try our best.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting, but I also wanted to share a little bit about what we actually do in the kids building, because we kind of talk a lot about we need people to help, but don't really get a whole lot of chance to explain actually what you'll be doing.
Right.
And so I think sometimes there's a perception in the kids ministry that maybe even it's a little harder than it actually is. And so I'm going to just share a little bit about that.
Yeah, let's hear about it.
But so what we're looking for, we do still need help. Our numbers are going up, which is a really good thing. Last week we had 40 kids over there, which is great. It's only about 50% of what we were running before COVID. Right. But it's still, every week we've been growing.
Yeah, we had several weeks where we were even above 100 before COVID.
Yes, we did.
But 40 is great because it's better than none.
It's better than none.
Yeah.
So, but it does mean we're kind of needing to add in more volunteers as the numbers keep going up.
Right.
So the way we kind of run over in the kids' boarding is we have a big group teaching time, and then we break off into small groups. So I already have volunteers that do my big group teaching time. Okay. I have a team that already do that. They're really good. They're really committed. They kind of do that on a rotation. So when we're looking for volunteers, we're not looking for someone to come in and teach the Bible story. So what we're looking for is people that will come in and be with kids. They'll do activities with kids. They'll do snack time with kids, and kind of lead the little small group time. So there's no real prep beforehand. Great. They're not having to like do a big study of the Bible and what we're teaching. That's done already by somebody else. So they can read through the outline of what we're doing ahead of time. That's about maybe 10 minutes, and then show up and do the activities with the kids. We do need volunteers from all the way from preschool up to 5th grade. So we are still looking kind of for the whole age range. So I know some people find like little kids really intimidating, but they like to kind of work with the slightly older that can talk more. Others are like, I don't want to get into those big conversations, so give me a 2-year-old that will be happy to play Play-Doh with me. Yeah. And they love it. And so we've got kind of that whole age range is what we're looking for.
That's great.
But it's really simple. And
sounds awesome.
My volunteers have a lot of fun.
You know, the reality is that this is I think, such an important, normal part of a kid's life that has been missing for the better part of a year. Yeah. And so, you know, for your kid, especially if you have kids at home, like I have kids that go to school every day, pre-K, 1st and 2nd grade, and even their school existence is totally different than what it was. You know, it's not as interactive, it's not as hands-on. And so to be able to come to church and have a little bit more relational normalcy is everything. And in order for that to happen, we need adults in there that can come in. And I like what you said, because I do think that that's true. People think like, well, you know, I don't have time to do an hour or 2 lesson plan or whatever. You don't have to do that. Yeah.
I do all that.
You do that.
I do that for you. So it's all there. You got to read an email. Once a week, you got to read an email. So just put the Facebook down for 10 minutes.
And put the email
read the email,
on.
and then you're done.
Look at that.
But it is, and I really believe, like, we don't do just childcare over there.
Right.
It's ministry to children. And I can think of no better way to serve in a time where for kids, like, a lot of things have changed, a lot of things uncertain, to be there reminding them every week that Jesus is the same, and he's there and he's present in their lives. I can't think of a better way to spend my Sunday than reminding kids that's what's really true.
I agree.
That's what's real. So
it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So what's this new thing?
So this is our new series. So every month we have like a new series that we do over there, and it's themed on something. This month it's called Challenge Accepted. So for the month of February, we're going to be looking at the miracles of Jesus.
Awesome.
And so this weekend, our big idea, every week we have a big idea of the one thing we want kids to take home from what we learn. And this week's big idea is Jesus cares for me. So again, during COVID, Jesus still cares for you. So he's interested in your life. So
absolutely.
That's what we'll be learning this weekend.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So if you have, if you out there are wanting to get involved, how do they get in touch with you?
You can comment below.
Okay.
I'll make sure I read those comments. You can write it on your care card if you come to church.
Yep.
Or you can send a message through to the City on a Hill Facebook page. And
you're also on Facebook?
I'm also on Facebook. You can find me.
Yep.
I'm right there.
Yep. Very good.
Yeah.
Lots of ways to get a hold of us these days.
Yeah.
So, if you're interested, we'd love to know. Now, one other thing, how do you do, like, is there a background check process? How does that work?
Yes. It's really simple. So all our volunteers are background checked. I send you an email, you fill out some details, and it gets done really easily.
Great.
So it's real simple.
Simple.
Yeah.
So there you go. There you have it. Well, great. Well, thank you for being on again.
Thanks.
We'll have you on again soon. Play a game similar to what we're about to play with Anne here in a moment.
Right.
Only for your nationality
Of course,
and not hers.
Australian.
Right. Yeah, Australian. So good to have you on there, Captain Kangaroo. Coming up next, we do have our favorite, Queen Anne DuMond. The matriarch of everything wonderful at City on a Hill. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, Her Majesty, the Queen.
God save her!
Is that what we're supposed to do? Do we take our hats off? I don't know how that works.
No, I'm from Yorkshire.
You're from Yorkshire. Okay, so no hats off.
No.
Just a regular Yorkshire girl.
I'm
Well,
just a Yorkshire lass.
a Yorkshire lass. Well, welcome our very own Yorkshire lass, Anne DuMond. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
We are excited to hear about the kinds of ministries that you do here. Each week we've kind of brought on different people. We had Brian for 3 weeks to talk about freedom groups, and we all heard from Chris last season, Emma last season as well. We've tried to kind of bring on different staff members because, when you come here on Sunday morning, people, if they're not like super plugged in, they see James and I, obviously. They see Kelsey. But there's beyond that, unless they have kids in the kids ministry or youth, which they had Aaron last season as well, they don't really get a chance to get to know the staff.
Right.
And even if you have kids in the kids ministry, it's so, most people are running late and they drop their kids off and they barely even get a chance to really have much dialogue. And so we felt like this was a good opportunity to bring staff members on and hear a little bit about what you do, a little bit about who you are. We got a fun game to play with Yorkshire Lass here in a little while as well. But tell us, you're involved with a host team.
Right.
As well as some other things, so we can start there. Tell us about the host team.
Well, the host team is a great place to begin volunteering if you want to volunteer. Sometimes Sunday mornings you're a little sleepy and groggy, and if you're on the host team, you are up front with all the guests coming in, and it's just a really uplifting ministry.
It really is.
Position, volunteer position.
Anne and I were talking right before we started filming. Her and I have been here on staff, apart from James, the longest. Anne's been here for going on 15 years. Mm-hmm. I've been here going on 13 years. Brian came just a little after I did. And I don't think there's anyone else on staff that's been here as long as we have. Everyone else came after. And I remember back years and years ago when we first started coming, one of the biggest criticisms of our church was that when you walk in, like the preaching was good, the worship was good, the classes were good, the groups were good, but it was just like people had been coming for 5 or 6 weeks and no one had ever introduced themselves to them.
Right.
It was a very closed off kind of mentality. And I remember when we introduced the host team concept for the first time, which is kind of crazy to think about because it's such a defining part of our church now. Mm-hmm. But it made such a difference, and it still does. I met a young family last week, actually. It was their first time here, and one of the first things that she said was, this place is so peaceful and so welcoming and so warm, and I thought that is so good to hear. And it's not because we're just peaceful, welcoming, warm individuals. I think, a lot of us are. But being a host team, having a host team requires intentionality. And,
right.
And y'all are great at that.
And if you ever think you are not confident enough to be on the host team, you are. Because when people come in and you start smiling at them, and they smile back and you start connecting, you get to know people.
That's exactly right. It's a big deal. And so this is one of the challenges that I issued last Sunday, actually, was, your acknowledgments should meet your actions. Your actions should always demonstrate what your priorities are. And there's a lot of folks that I think have the right mindset, that they feel like serving is a good thing and being a part of a church is a good thing, but maybe their actions don't always line up. And the host team is a great place to get your feet wet. If you've never served in any capacity before in a church setting, and you're like, I could never teach a Bible study, or you don't have to start with any of that. Maybe that is your gifting, but a great place to start is to start on the host team.
Right, because even if you're shy, everybody can smile.
Right.
And that's what I always tell everybody, just smile.
Right.
Look people in the eye and smile at them.
That's great. That's so great. Tell us about what else you do. I understand that you're a bit of a gardener.
I love my garden.
Yeah.
I help take care of the water feature that we have out front of the church where the circular driveway is, and that garden's a commemoration to a member that was on the host team, Robert Veneta.
Yeah.
And so I always need volunteers to help with that. And I do the flower pots at the entrance.
The flower pots. I floated the idea out. Comment below if you think this is a good idea. But the potted plants that we have need upkeep, right? And so I thought we should start a potheads ministry. What do y'all think?
No.
Like below, love below, comment.
No.
I'd love to hear. I think it fits the church well, but maybe I'm the only one. So I came up with an idea, another volunteer idea, because we always need help. Yes.
With the flower beds, that maybe a family could adopt part of the flower beds.
Be awesome.
And come and tend that every week, because I don't think children learn about gardening anymore, because life is very busy.
Agreed.
We're going to ball games and school and everything else, and it's just fun to get out there and play in the dirt.
It is. It really is. And you talked a little bit about maybe even doing some stuff at some of the youth and children's camps to kind of teach about
at the ranch, planting vegetables and seeing how things grow. We could even grow vegetables in one of the flower beds out there. We could grow herbs.
We could have our very own shire. That would be great, like the Lord of the Rings shire.
Yes.
Hobbits.
Yes, and we could have fairy gardens.
Fairy gardens.
And
now, okay, I wasn't even going to bring this up, but you mentioned it, so we've got to go there now. Anne has the most spectacular fairy garden of all time in her backyard. It is hard to explain how cool it is. My kids talk about it regularly. They always want to go to Queen Anne's house, which, by the way, is amazing that's how they know you. They know you as Queen Anne.
I know.
But say a little bit about the fairy garden. How did you get into all that?
Well, we love fairies in England.
Right.
And
we like guns in America. So.
I know you like guns, but I love fairy gardens. You can put fairy gardens in pots. I probably have 15 fairy gardens.
Wow.
And when my grandchildren were young, like your children are, they would come out and help me with the fairy gardens. I paint my fairies every year, and people are just fascinated by fairy gardens.
It's true.
They're fun to get out there and play.
Yeah, that's great.
For me.
That's amazing. Amazing stuff. Well, if you are watching this morning or whatever time it is when you choose to watch this, and you have interest in doing any of these things, these are great opportunities to plug in. And again, if you're someone who is a little more nervous about talking to people, you don't have to talk to anybody to do gardening ministry. And again, it makes a big difference because the way that the church is presented to guests when they first show up may not seem like that big of a deal. It's a surface level sort of exterior thing. And of course, we care about the inside, not the outside. All that's true. But I mean, the reality is if you're a guest and you come to a place and they have weeds everywhere and they're, flower beds, it just says that there's not a lot of care being given to the property.
Right.
And so if you're not someone who thinks talking to people is, kind of up your alley, a little more of an introvert or whatever, then that's totally fine. We have other places where you can plug in and you're not thrust into a situation where you may be uncomfortable.
Right.
That being said, host team ministry is extremely rewarding. And if you have interest in joining that community and being a part of a phenomenally important part of this church, then we'd love to have you.
And this is my vision. And for everybody that walks through the door of this church to feel welcome.
Yeah.
Because for some people, they haven't been to church for a long time.
Yeah.
Things have happened in their lives that they feel unworthy or nervous. And we want them to feel comfortable.
We had a girl Sunday that had never been to church in her entire life.
Yes.
She was never been to church. And so her experience walking through these doors and being welcomed and embraced by people was literally her first exposure to the Church of Jesus.
And I grew up in the Church of England.
Yeah.
And honestly, when I had a life and a past, and I left.
Yeah.
I left what I learned growing up, and I came back. My life changed when I came back to church. But I remember going to a home group from the church I went to, and they were reading a Bible, and I was like, oh, I don't know what this is. I'd only ever read you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Well, I can't think of the word, King James Bible.
Yes.
So I was like, what? I don't understand this. And I felt so uncomfortable.
Out of place. Yeah.
Out of place. And so people are uncomfortable when they come here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to make sure that we love them and that they are welcome.
And loved, and it's a step in faith to come to church, and
it is.
We got to do our part to make them feel good about it.
There was changes in my life, and I went back to church, and I felt ashamed walking into the building.
Yeah.
I never want anybody to feel that way coming to City on a Hill.
That's amazing.
And I worked in the restaurant business. And everybody that comes in the restaurant, regulars, they want to be acknowledged.
Yes.
We all want somebody to know who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. To love and be known. No doubt about it. Well, thank you for being here for this segment. Coming up next, we're going to play a game that I am really looking forward to called How English Are You? We'll be right back. Okay, so here we are. We've got a game to play with you. The Connections Pastor is also very British here, and so we have a game called How British Are You? That's what BuzzFeed calls it. How British? So this is a BuzzFeed game. If you're familiar with BuzzFeed games, it's like a quiz or whatever. You answer the questions, and then it gives you at the end of it a percentage of how British you are. And it says no pressure, but if you fail, your passport will be rescinded. So hopefully you do well. That would be really terrible. Are you ready to play?
If you insist.
I do insist.
All right.
Her Majesty. I have several questions that I'm going to ask you, and what I'll do is I'll ask the question, and then I'll give you the different choices that you can choose from, and whichever you choose, I'll press, and then I'll give you your tally at the end. Here's question number 1. You're about to go on holiday. It's 7 a.m., and you're sat in the departure lounge. What do you drink? A cup of Earl Grey. B, a cup of Builder's Breakfast. C, a coffee. D, a pint. You're on holiday after all. Or E, a glass of OJ.
A cup of Earl Grey.
Okay, Earl Grey. Number 2. The hairdresser holds up their mirror. You hate your new haircut. What do you do? A, politely ask them if they could maybe make it more like what you had in mind. B, call in sick at work for a few days to ensure minimum embarrassment. C, tell them it's great, then go and get it fixed at a place around the corner. D, tell them exactly what you think and refuse to pay. Or E, smile and nod before tipping them.
Smile and nod before tipping.
Okay, excellent. Number 3, you're introduced to a new colleague but don't quite catch their name. How do you react? A, ask them to repeat their name. B, avoid using their name at all costs by calling them mate and hey you. C, guess their name. D, ignore them forever. Or E, make up false stories about them so that they lose their job.
I would ask them to repeat.
Okay, ask them to repeat. 4, when did you last have a cup of tea? A, you don't drink tea. B, in the last month. C, in the last week. D, earlier today. Or E, you're drinking one right now.
Earlier today.
Okay.
But I'd like to be drinking one right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We can get you one afterwards. Number 5, do you wave at a friend in the street but then realize it wasn't your friend? Do you A, laugh it off, it's happened to everyone. B, chase them down to explain what happened. C, cry. D, replay the moment over and over again in your mind until something even more embarrassing happens. Or E, have a drink.
Laugh it off.
Okay. Number 6, you and your partner are both adamant that each other eats the last hobnob. How do you resolve the situation? A, split it into 2. B, do what they say and eat it. C, open another packet so you can both have one. D, argue about it and break up. Or my response, E, what's a hobnob?
What? I'd eat it.
You'd eat it. You'd just eat it. Okay.
Yeah, and then get the other packet out.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to go with open another packet so you can both have one.
All right.
Yeah. So real fast, what's a hobnob?
A hobnob is a biscuit.
Oh, okay.
Like not a cook. We call them biscuits, not cookies.
So it's not like what you would put sausage gravy over, jalapeno sausage gravy over.
No.
'Cause
Please.
That's the better biscuit.
I do not do that.
Number 7. Someone knocks into you at the bar. Of course, you would never be at the bar, Anne.
Not these days.
And spills their beer on you. You A, get angry. B, offer to buy them a replacement. C, say sorry, it was probably your fault anyway. D, pretend that nothing happened. Or E, try to make a joke out of it and become their friend.
What was the first one?
Get angry.
No.
B, offer to buy them a replacement.
Offer to buy them a replacement.
Okay. Number 8. Your flat is freezing cold, but it's too early in the year to put your heating on. What do? A, put on a record equaling 6th jumper. B, put the heating on. Who cares if it's August? C, sit there stubbornly whilst moaning about how cold it is. D, make a cup of tea, which seems to be like the obvious British answer to anything. And E, go to the pub, which is also equally British in nature.
Make a cup of tea.
Yeah, you're a Yorkshire lass, so you don't go to the pub. Are England going to win the World Cup? A, yes. B, with a bit of luck and a fair wind, they could make the final, and then it's anyone's. C, they'll lose the quarterfinals on penalties. D, probably not, but let's give the boys our full support. And E, they've got about as much of a chance of winning as Brazil and Scotland.
Probably not, but give them full support.
All right. Sounds like a good Dallas Cowboys response as well. Number 10, you're sat in the window seat of a plane and need the loo, but the person in the aisle seat is asleep. What do? A, gently wake them up to ask if they can let you out. B, risk lasting internal damage by refusing to say anything. C, cough louder and louder until they wake up. D, try to squeeze past them without waking them up, but they do, just as it looks like you're trying to sit on their lap. And E, the loo?
C,
Cough louder and louder until they wake up.
no.
No?
Squeeze past them
Oh, squeeze past them. That's
and
okay.
try not to wake them up.
Okay, excellent. Number 11. You've started to bump into a new colleague on the train to work every morning. So you, A, change your commute. B, arrive at work half an hour early so as to avoid forced niceties. C, talk to them. It's nice to be nice. D, ignore them forever. Or E, pretend to be asleep.
C,
It's nice to be nice. Is that the one? Talk to them?
yes.
Yeah, okay. Oh, no, Anne.
These are too long. I can't remember the questions.
Well, we've got the results. Here
no.
Here are the results. How British are you? You got probably American.
No!
Seriously, check your passport. That's what it says. Seriously, check your passport. I'm surprised by that.
I've been here too long.
You have. We're rubbing off on you. How does freedom taste? Is it good? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It's very good. Mm-hmm. Thanks for being on here.
You're welcome.
You've given me an idea while we're here, and I think we need to take this quiz again, at least with Chris, and then we need to find if BuzzFeed has one for Australians, because that would be really funny to do with Emma. I think she would really appreciate that a lot, so that's great. Glad to have you on. Hope to have you on again soon. As always, if you have questions for our Connections Pastor about any of the ministries that she has talked about, you can comment below. We'll get in contact with you. There are various other ways of doing that. If you're here on Sundays, find her. She's normally in the foyer. We can give you her number. Just let me know, and I'll give you her address. I'll give you all of her personal. I'm just kidding. I won't do that. But other ways that you can contact her, just call the office, and we'll get you in touch. We'd love to have you get in touch with her.
Definitely.
And one final thing for being on the show today, we usually try to do some kind of prize or something like that for the games that we play, and we have for you your very own...
Oh, good cup of tea.
Good cup of tea. Look at that. England's #1 is what it says. Now, we probably should have gotten you America's #1 because of the quiz, but...
PG tips. Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So there you go. Awesome. Thanks for being on.
We'll go have a cup of tea.
Can you make me one?
Yes.
'Cause I wanna
Emma,
do it.
put the kettle on.
Do you put sugar in it and ice and a little lemon on the top, or?
Please.
Coming up next, we have our worship and weather report with Pastor Kelsey Barker. See you soon.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Worship and Weather with me, Kelsey Barker, and my trusty associate pastor, Derrick.
Hello.
We have some great news. Church is happening tomorrow.
Great.
Wonderful.
Tell us about it.
There's going to be some weather as you're coming in.
Yeah.
Here is your weather report. Tomorrow on the 7th? 7th of February.
7th of February.
Today's the 6th.
February.
February. Makes me want some coffee, some brew.
Some brew.
Yeah. Here's your weather for tomorrow. So we're going to have a high of 66 degrees, a low of 41. During your commute to church, it's going to be a lovely mid-40s. So grab a jacket.
Yeah.
Nothing too heavy.
Right.
But you might want it. We'll have no rain, a little bit of humidity, and winds at about 7 miles per hour.
Wow.
So, I don't know about you, but it sounds like another wonderful day. We've been having some great weather this week so far.
It has been great, but it's concerning to me.
Oh, tell me why.
Because I'm afraid the bugs are not going to be killed off as well as we like for them to be here in Texas. And when summer comes, there's going to be a reckoning, my friend.
Well, you know,
there's going to be a reckoning.
This past week was Groundhog's Day.
It was.
And I don't know how many of y'all saw that
Punxsutawney Phil.
That groundhog with all the guys with the top hats. And evidently we have 6 more weeks of winter.
I did see that.
So, and to start off our winter, we have 60-degree weather tomorrow. So,
how nice.
Sounds very wintry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We are trusting a groundhog who sees his shadow.
Yeah.
So, let's be honest. This is a little bit of a dated technique at this point, right?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, Derrick.
It feels like it needs an update. It feels like the operating system might be a little out of just consider...
Are you proposing like a robotic groundhog?
No, I'm just saying, of all the technologically advanced things we do, we are still carrying on with a groundhog seeing his shadow.
I think it's one of the greatest American traditions.
I'm not sure about that.
I am proud of my heritage.
I am too.
I don't know.
Absolutely as well. I like to be proud of my 2021 American heritage, not my 17th century.
Well,
yeah.
You heard it here first. Derrick wants the old ways to die. So Christmas,
Christmas.
Thanksgiving, everything we hold dear.
Right, everything
Derrick
we hold.
wants to destroy.
Apple pie. Get rid of it all. If it's,
Baseball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
That is not true.
Breaking news here on Worship and Weather with Kelsey
I
Barker.
just think it's dated. You know, it's like, come on, what are we really doing here?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's the weather.
It is. What's the
And
worship?
a strong take on Groundhog Day from you, sir. All right, so for tomorrow, the 7th, I almost said the 1st of February. That was earlier. Here's what we've got going on, guys. So we're going to kick things off with Glorious Day
Love it.
and Graves into Gardens back to back.
Love it.
So we're going to have some high energy this Sunday morning.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then a welcome from yourself.
Good.
You're going to be telling us all about the things that are happening in the life
Yeah,
of City on a Hill,
Yeah.
which is always exciting.
more or less.
And then we're going to break into His Mercy is More, which is a great song, and then wrap it up with Dropping My Phone and Defender. Wow, that was close.
Bingo.
So that's our worship for this Sunday morning.
Dig it.
It's going to be great. You know, it's been just really fun, and this is more of a personal thing for me. This last Sunday we had 205 people, I think.
We did.
Between both services, and it's just good to have the church back praising God together.
I credit mostly this morning show for bringing us back.
I would agree.
You know, I think it's doing most of the heavy lifting for us.
Yeah.
But
People
you know,
see it and they're like, "Wow, those guys are right."
there probably is something, you know, about children's ministry and youth opening and, you know,
the
general
movement
fear
of the Holy Spirit,
Right,
in
the movement of the Holy
people's
Spirit, right. But I
lives.
mean, but overwhelmingly,
Yeah,
I think that it is
Good morning, City
probably
on the
what's
Hill.
happening here.
What we're doing in this moment.
Yes. So
Right.
it's a movement. It's really more of a morning movement, not a morning show.
I feel good about me.
Oh man, it's
we
gonna
need
be
to
good.
shut up.
We do. So let me.
What are you guys doing?
Can I drop a hot take? Can I drop a breaking news?
You've already dropped one.
Do we have a breaking news clip like right now? So here's the deal. We are having one big banging outdoor Easter service.
Oh, we're
this year.
talking about that.
We're gonna go for it. We're gonna start talking about it now. This year, above all years, is the year to go all out, and
2021, baby.
so we're already here in the first part of February, making plans, setting things up for one big outdoor 10:30 service, Easter Sunday morning. We're going to have the whole praise band out there. James and I are going to have it's going to be like a normal Sunday morning, but outside.
Yeah.
So if you are in that category of people who do not feel comfortable coming to a worship service indoors, then please come to this.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Tell your
gonna be
friends.
amazing.
Be praying now that the weather cooperates.
Yeah.
Easter, if you didn't know, is the 4th of April this
Yeah.
year. 4th of April. And really, we are just doing this in order to make it possible for as many people to come. We did the same thing on Christmas Eve.
And what we learned from that is that a lot of people came
Yeah.
that have not been coming because they felt comfortable outside. It's obviously a technical nightmare to do it, and most people, you know,
Yeah.
when this whole thing started, were like, "Well, why don't we just do church outside?" And it's like, it's not that easy. It's all we would be doing.
Yeah, we
I
wouldn't
mean,
be streaming. It would just be...
It would be really, difficult. But for Easter, we're willing to go all out.
Yep.
We're gonna have a lot of late nights and early mornings, and it'll be worth it because we want to bring the church together on our, biggest reason why we gather, the resurrection.
Yep.
I mean, Paul says if there's no resurrection, then we're the ones to be the most pitied. I mean,
What are we even doing here?
yeah, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die.
Yep.
I mean, that's really, so we are really excited about this. We want you to invite your friends and family, your neighbors, whoever. We'll have invite cards, I'm sure, eventually to be able to hand out to people to get them to come as well. We will be streaming it. We have figured out a way to do that, but it's really more for our out-of-state people who are actually sick, and to be able to go back and watch the service at a later time. It's not for people who just don't feel safe coming, because again, we're going to be outdoors. So we really hope that you will, by all CDC recommendations, outdoors is
We'll be
safer.
okay.
As long as you keep distance from people, which there's plenty of room out there to do so. So come. We'd love to see you there.
We'll still have chairs out
Yeah.
there for you guys, so you won't be sitting on the grass or anything. It's
Right.
going to be great.
Although
And,
you can bring
yeah.
blankets. There's tons of room out there. Feel free to throw a picnic down, kind
It'll
of
be
picnic
awesome.
style. Bring some snacks and have some fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. It's going to be crazy.
It is.
So, Identity Crisis still this Sunday?
This Sunday, yep,
For
we're gonna be
tomorrow?
we're gonna be talking about the long road that Israel took through the wilderness. We're not really talking about identity more. It's kind of an addendum to the series. We had 5 weeks of identity of God and the identity of ourselves in light of Him. But as James said Sunday, when you're in the book of Exodus, there's a few places that you always kind of want to stop and just sort of park. But what we're doing actually is, I'll give you the lay of the land, another hot take here.
This is the third one.
Sunday, we're going to be doing a long kind of wilderness journey of Israel. We were going to do the following week the Passover, but we're actually saving that for Easter Sunday. So we're going to come back to Exodus on Easter Sunday and talk about the Passover.
Bring it on back.
It's obviously the picture of Jesus, our Passover lamb, which means then the following Sunday after this one, which will be Valentine's Day weekend, we're going to be teaching an old gospel message on John 3:16. I hear we're also going to be learning perhaps a John 3:16 song. So we got a lot of fun things planned, kind of themed. And then the week after that, which is the 21st, our outreach pastor, Chris, is going to be doing a message on what he does.
In pure English.
In pure English. So we got a great month planned.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm a little excited and overwhelmed all at the same time.
Isn't that awesome?
Wow.
Yeah. So
Well,
there you go.
You guys got a little bit of a look into the future.
Yeah.
On Worship and Weather with Kelsey Barker today.
That's right. As always, thank you for being here. We had a great time with you this morning.
Yes.
Hopefully you enjoyed the games with Queen Anne.
I did.
Hearing about the kids ministry, which is great. I think that was really hopefully clarifying for some of y'all, and maybe give you a little more courage to jump in there.
Yeah.
We will come back next week with another strong episode, but until then, have a good morning, City on a Hill.